In motorcycle racing, a half-second gap is considered domination. Winning by a full second is almost unheard of. So what do you call 3.685 seconds? March the 28th, 2026. Algarve International Circuit, Portugal. Round 2 of the World Supersport Championship. A Chinese manufacturer you had never heard of, founded just 18 months earlier, crossed the finish line first, then did it again the next day. To understand why this matters, you need to understand what World SSP represents. Unlike MotoGP, which runs on prototype machines you can't buy, World Supersport requires race bikes to be based on production models, at least 2,000 units sold. Winning here doesn't just mean you have a fast race team, it means your factory can build a motorcycle that rivals or beats the best on Earth. For decades, that podium belonged to 3 nations, Italy, Japan, and Germany: Ducati, Yamaha, Kawasaki, MV Agusta. Then came a name no one could pronounce, Zhang Xue. Born in 1987 in a crumbling mud brick house in rural Hunan province. Parents divorced, raised his younger sister from the age of 10, dropped out of school at 14 to work in a motorcycle repair shop, slept covered in engine grease. In 2006, Zhang Xue was 19 years old. He was running a small motorcycle repair shop in Huaihua, a town so remote that most Chinese people had never heard of it. He had no money, no connections, no formal education beyond elementary school. What he did have was a beat-up $100 motorcycle and a belief that he was meant to race. That year, a TV crew from Hunan's evening news, think 60 Minutes but more human interest, was filming a segment on motorcycle enthusiasts in the area. Zhang called them, repeatedly, begging for a chance to show what he could do. They finally agreed, but on the day of the shoot, the rain came down, the roads turned to mud. The crew decided to pack up and leave for their next assignment. They turned their cameras back on. Zhang performed a series of difficult stunts, wheelies, riding while lying flat on the seat, falling multiple times, getting up each time. He was filmed saying, "This little bit of pain, it's nothing." That segment aired under the title The Wind Chasing Youth, and it worked. Zhang was scouted by professional racing teams. By 2009, he had won a bronze medal at the National Motorcycle City Stair Climbing Contest. By 2011, he had back-to-back second-place finishes in the same national competition. But here's the thing, Zhang soon realized something that would haunt him for years. "I knew I would never be a great rider. I didn't have the talent, but I couldn't let go of the idea that I could still build great motorcycles." He pivoted from rider to builder, from chasing cameras to chasing something far more difficult, the engineering secrets of the world's best motorcycles. That pivot would take him from Hunan to Zhejiang, from Zhejiang to Chongqing, and eventually to the world stage. But first, he had to learn how an engine truly works, from the inside out. This is the Zhang Xue that investors would later describe as having an uncopyable advantage. Not a degree from MIT, not decades of corporate R&D, but something rarer, the accumulated knowledge of a man who has taken apart more motorcycles than most engineers will see in a lifetime. From 2009 to 2012, Zhang worked at Apollo Motorcycles in Zhejiang province. It was a small off-road company, no prestige, low pay, but he didn't care. He was there to learn, not from textbooks, but from hands. He took apart engines, put them back together, rode them until they broke, then did it all over again. "I know which structures fail most often," he later explained. "When I started building my own bikes, I knew exactly which designs to avoid." In 2009, a CCTV crew filmed him attempting a water crossing stunt, twice. He failed both times and injured himself, but he looked into the camera and said this: "Even if I don't succeed this time, I'll keep trying. Maybe not next time either, but eventually I will." He documented everything on online motorcycle forums. In China's tight-knit motorcycle community, he became a minor celebrity. Not because he was the fastest rider, but because he was the most obsessed builder. Every bolt mattered, every gram of weight reduction was documented. He posted failures alongside successes. He answered questions from strangers at 2 a.m. Soon, people wanted to buy what he built. In 2017, Zhang and two partners co-founded Kove Moto. The company grew fast, from 800 units in its first year to 30,000 at its peak. Kove became a leader in China's large displacement motorcycle market. In 2023, Zhang led the Kove team to the Dakar Rally, the world's most brutal off-road endurance race, covering over 8,000 kilometers of desert. Kove achieved a milestone that no Chinese manufacturer had ever reached: a full finish, Chinese bikes, Chinese riders, Chinese team, all crossing the finish line together. By 2023, Kove Moto was successful, but Zhang and his partners disagreed on where to go next. Zhang wanted to pour everything into developing a proprietary in-house engine, a true Chinese power plant that could compete with the Europeans and Japanese. His partners wanted to focus on the bottom line: more models, more markets, more profit, safer bets. This is the classic tension in any growth company: founder versus investors, vision versus spreadsheets. Zhang lost the argument, but instead of compromising, he made a decision that stunned the industry. Zhang Xue resigns as CEO of Kove Moto. Sources: internal disagreements over R&D investment. Founder leaves company he built from the ground up. In March 2024, he left, walked away from the company he had spent 7 years building. No golden parachute, no consulting contract, just a short post on social media and a closed door. He named it after himself: ZXMOTO, Zhang Xue Motorcycle. Why put your own name on the door? His answer: it means I'm betting everything. My reputation, my future. If this fails, there's no one else to blame. Starting over was brutal. Before the company even unveiled its first production model, Zhang struggled to pay salaries. He had to borrow money from friends just to keep the lights on. His wife, Chen Xinyi, later told reporters, "From the moment he started making his first product in Chongqing, we were borrowing. He told his team, if we don't ship a bike in 3 months, we're done. They shipped in 4. But shipping a bike was not enough. Zhang wanted to build an engine, not a licensed copy, not a reverse-engineered clone of a Honda or Yamaha design. A true Chinese engine, from scratch. And that decision, the same one that had forced him out of Kove, would now define ZXMOTO. He chose a configuration that almost no one else was using: an inline triple. Why the triple? Because it sits between a twin and a 4. More torque than a 4 at low revs, more top end than a twin, narrower than a 4. It fits in tighter chassis designs, and the sound, the triple has a howl that is distinct from anything else on the track. But designing a triple from scratch was the hard part. Zhang's team spent years developing the 8.19cc power plant. They blew up prototypes, they cracked cylinder heads, they ran engines until they grenaded, then rebuilt them stronger. The breakthroughs came from unexpected places: titanium aluminum valves from the Jihua laboratory, an electroplated ceramic cylinder block from Chaoyang Precision Manufacturing, a process that reduces friction and dissipates heat faster than traditional cast iron. Zhang obsessed over weight. In an interview, he revealed the extremes he went to. We shrunk the bolts and silent blocks. That saved 93 grams for an additional cost of 14%. The carbon fiber exhaust cover saved another 17.8 grams for an additional cost of 300%. The gap grows. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, the checkered flag, 3.685 seconds ahead. Zhang collapses into the arms of his crew, tears, uncontrolled. 20 years of chasing compressed into a few seconds of release. Next day, race 2, Zhang is calmer now, the bike is set up, DeBees has confidence, same result, back-to-back, a clean sweep. In the winner's circle, a reporter asked DeBees how he did it. He didn't talk about his riding, he pointed at the bike. The engineers, he said, they gave me a weapon. Back in China, the footage of Zhang's 2006 chase went viral. Millions of people watched the 19-year-old boy in the rain, shivering, begging for a chance. Then they watched the same man 20 years later, standing on the world stage with tears streaming down his face. Zhang's plan for 2026: sell 60,000 units, reach 1.8 billion yuan in output value, open 450 dealerships, and of course, win more races. But Zhang is not stopping at Supersport. He's already talking about MotoGP, the pinnacle of two-wheeled racing. Before I get tired of this, he says, and if we have the money, we're going. The skeptics will say this is a flash in the pan. One win, one season, that doesn't make a legacy. But here's what the skeptics miss. Zhang Xue didn't appear from nowhere. He's the product of 4 decades of industrial accumulation in Chongqing. Every gear cutter, every casting engineer, every supply chain manager, they all helped build that bike. As one industry veteran put it, Zhang Xue won the race. But what carried him across the line was Chinese manufacturing. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. Even if I hadn't won, someone else would have. Wang Shui, Li Shui, someone would have done it. Chinese motorcycles were always going to get here. I just happened to be the one holding the handlebars.